Hello, good evening. This is Newsnight, live from our studios here at Metro Television. My name is Josephine Oppong-Yeboah. Coming up in the next 30 minutes, the minority in Parliament describes President Akufo-Addo's State of the Nation address as full of misleading statements. 12-year-old class 5 pupil of Bishop's Primary School at Chugo, a suburb of Tamale in the northern region, dies after being allegedly defiled by a gang. The management of the 37 military hospitals has denied reports picked up by Metro News that a number of babies at the neonatal intensive care unit have died from infections. In business news, the producer price inflation rate for January 2016 is pegged at 3.1%, representing a decrease of 1.7% as compared to the rates recorded in December 2016. And in news across our borders, police in the Gambia have arrested the country's former head of the National Intelligence Agency and his deputy for overseeing killings, kidnappings, arbitrary arrests and rape during their time in office. Thank you for your time on Newsnight. In our first story, the minority in Parliament has reacted to President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo's first State of the Nation address, describing the address as full of misleading statements. The minority leader, during a press conference on Wednesday, said it is unpardonable for Nana Addo not to have touched on housing and other important sectors of the economy.
Those of you who listened to the president would have been wondering whether he was still on a party platform campaigning for vote, or he was now the elected president of the republic who was speaking as the head of state of the Republic of Ghana. But we are not surprised and we were not perturbed, because he himself said that Ghanaians should anticipate tough measures to end their many sufferings that they promised in the MPP manifesto. Many of you who heard him again indicated that there is no fiscal space. Yet he did not provide an opportunity and an explanation to the Ghanaian people how he intends to find the fiscal space. Even as we are aware that his promise and pledged tax cut, his statement could only be crampy of paradoxes and contradictions. In one breath, no fiscal space, no indication how he intends to find the fiscal space, even as we are aware that he would be engaged in tax cuts as he pledged. It is also to be noted that many other sectors of the economy were left out. We heard practically nothing on housing, nothing on how to address the growing unemployment of our country, how he intends to improve revenue to match expenditure. And practically, he lost an opportunity and was still doing the rhetoric of the Nana Addo Bawumia administration. And ladies and gentlemen of the media, our very own backyard, I'm referring to even Bimbila. There was no comment on it, even as it poses a major threat to our national peace and security, and what he is seeking to do as president of the republic to enforce law and order and also to protect life and property. Ladies and gentlemen, it's also important that I state that it is not enough for the president of the republic just to come to parliament and his is to condemn the continuous intimidation, harassment of public servants. There are men and women within the public service, the local government service, and the civil service. And those of you who are familiar with developments in the Busia era, we are justified to be worried and concerned. And therefore, it's not enough for the president to pontificate and just state that I condemn those acts. Those of you who remember, even...
All right, so you had Minority Leader in Parliament, Haruna Idrisu. Meanwhile, some members of the opposition have reacted to the State of the Nation address delivered by the president. They welcome the president's condemnation on the violent attacks that characterized the transition period, but raised concerns over some policies interventions to be implemented this year.
President, in his maiden State of the Nation address, touched on a number of issues ranging from the economy, education, health, security, among others. Major policy interventions were announced, including free SHS, one district, one factory, a vigorous irrigation system, all expected to begin this year. But reacting to this, some members of the opposition maintain the president sounded uninspiring.
Our people are seeing it clearly that he pick and choose what he wants to see. But there are so many things that we have done that is so good, but he was looking at the one that he felt they are not, is a bit bad or not too accurate. He's trying to expose those things. I also realized that it is more or less a diversionary tactics by the president, because he realized he cannot fulfill all the promises that they have made.
If you have the capacity and the will to do free SHS, bingo, is a bonus. But you can't sidestep and derogate that which the Constitution has imposed on you as a duty as President of the Republic of Ghana. What does the Article 25 say in the Constitution? It says that Ghana shall have free, compulsory, universal basic education. Look at all these children walking about 1 million of them.
On the issue of corruption, policy advisor of the Progressive People's Party, Kofi Asamoah indicated that the president's decision to appoint a special prosecutor cannot be a lasting solution to the canker.
This special prosecutor's office will be a waste of everybody's time as far as its efficacy to fight corruption is concerned. We have IOCO, we have Public Accounts Committee, we have the Auditor General, we have the CID. When they do any kind of investigation into state-sponsored corruption, they go and put the document before the Attorney General for prosecution. You think the Attorney General will have the courage to prosecute anybody who is part of the same conspiracy? So why come and add special prosecutor?
Meanwhile, the National Youth Organizer of the NDC, Sidi Abubakar Musa, has welcomed the president's condemnation of some MPP members who allegedly attacked some members of the NDC during the transition period.
If he's now assuring us he did not only see it at any gathering, but when he was addressing the nation, his first ever State of the Nation address. So that is why we decided that why not do belated, but let's give him a chance.
They say they will continue to play their role as responsible opposition parties to ensure that the government brings about the needed development to the people. For Metro News, Sheriff Apia reporting.
There have been mixed reactions and interpretations given to the President's State of the Nation address, depending on which side of the political divide one belongs to. Here at Metro TV's flagship program, Good Morning Ghana, former Deputy Minister of Education, Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa, held it against the President that his presentation was exceptionally partisan, while Deputy Chief of Staff Samuel Abu Jinapor said the President's delivery yesterday stated the true state of affairs in the country.
In many circles, it was an almost near-perfect presentation by President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo at the State of the Nation address, considering this was his first time. Already, the two major political parties are at each other's throat over President Nana Addo's presentation that the economy is broke and debt to GDP is astronomically high.
What we saw yesterday, especially under the economy subsection, which the president decided to focus on, with all due respect, Randy, was a one-sided view, a very skewed view. And you know, statistics, we all use statistics. You can pick and choose what you want to portray a certain picture. And I'll give you some examples. In all of this presentation, you notice that when the president talked about the economy, he didn't touch on inflation.
Given the amount of money we'll be required to pay this year on interest, when you convert it to cedis, at the prevailing exchange rate, we are required to pay some 14 billion Ghana cedis this year alone. And these debts were contracted. 92% of them were contracted in the past 8 years.
One of the issues that dominated the 2016 electioneering campaign was whether government was borrowing too much. But on the loan issue,
under your administration, you enjoyed HIPIC benefits. The HIPIC decision.
Was there debt cancellation?
No, listen, there was debt cancellation under MPP as much as there was debt cancellation under NDC. And it was a policy choice. And governments are voted for to make decisions and make choices.
The president talks about debt, that since independence, this government has borrowed 92% of Ghana's debt. But that is intellectual dishonesty. Because we do know that at some point in our history as a country, we had debt forgiveness, total debt write-off when we went HIPIC. If the president wanted to present a balanced picture, he should have talked about that.
On the president's promise to create more jobs for the youth, Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa said the president could have shown goodwill to new civil servants by not sacking them.
When I also heard him talk about job creation for the youth, honestly, I was very, very, very disheartened.
Why?
You say you are really concerned about the frustration of the youth. They don't have enough jobs in Ghana. And yet the few jobs you came to meet, you are sacking them. These are not political appointees. All of us who are political appointees, we know that our destiny is tied to the political authority. If he falls, we all go down with him.
From all indications, the debate on the State of the Nation address is being seen as a forerunner to the 2017 national budget, which is expected to be read by the finance minister in the next 10 days. This is expected to put the president's State of the Nation address in proper perspective. Frank Nyonato, Metro News, Accra.
Away from that story, tension is brewing in Ashaiman. A group calling itself the Gadangbe Movement says they were promised by the First Lady, Rebecca Akufo-Addo, that a Gadangbe will be made the municipal chief executive of Ashaiman if the NPP won the elections, which indeed they've won. They say it is time now to walk the talk.
Information gathered by Metro News has it that 11 individuals are gunning for the position of municipal chief executive for the area, and the competition is fierce. Many interest groups are pitching camp with one candidate or the other, heightening tension in the municipality. A clash was averted last week when two opposing groups of supporters of different candidates could not agree on who should organize a press conference. The Gadangbe movement in Ashaiman is adding to the anxiety. They are calling on the president to ignore all other interest groups and appoint a Gadangbe as the MCE. Spokesman for the movement says their demand follows a campaign promise made to them by the First Lady.
The time we gave has even elapsed. We have a letter. The copies we sent first to the office of the president. We bring copies for your perusal, for you to know that really the chiefs are in support of what we are doing.
Again, the group says that the choice of Gadangbe will help preserve the culture of the Gadangbe, who are owners of the land. Of the 11 people interested in for the municipal chief executive position for Ashaiman, 5 are Gadangbe. They say they will do all in their power to ensure that the president listens to their call.
Let's go for a breather. Please stay. Hello again, you're still watching Newsnight from our studios here at Laboni with me, Josephine Oppong-Yeboah, to a rather very sad story. If your daughter went to school healthy, you will expect to see her back alive, right? But one family has been hit by a tragedy as a 12-year-old Class 5 pupil of the Bishop's Primary School at Chogu, a suburb of Temale in the northern region, is dead. after she was allegedly gang-defiled in their rented house. Viewers are warned that some of the visuals in this story could be very disturbing.
The victim, who is Nigerian, is said to have closed from school but did not go to join her parents at the Abuabu market as she did every day. The distraught father followed up to the house only to see the naked, lifeless body of his daughter with blood oozing from her nose and private parts. A piece of cloth was tied around her neck. In an exclusive interview, outgone Public Relations Officer of the Northern Regional Police Command, ASP Ebenezer Teta, said that both police investigations and doctors' medical reports indicate some level of sexual contact.
So far, we have not arrested any suspects, but we are suspecting that it's either a contract killing or the parents of this particular young lady might have had problems with somebody and the person wanted to extend their anger on this young innocent girl. Or the third scenario could be that during the acts she might have identified some of the suspects and just to cover up they decided to strangle her to death. So as we speak now, the body has been deposited at the Tamale Teaching Hospital. Investigations have commenced.
Authorities of the Bishop Primary School, which the victim was attending, confirmed that she was in school on the day of her untimely death. No arrests have so far been made, but police say the alleged perpetrators are on the run.
A very sad story there. Metro News will keep an eye on this development and bring you updates. Away from that to another story, the management of the 37 military hospitals has denied the reports picked up by Metro News that a number of babies at the neonatal intensive care unit sadly died. Some parents who say they lost their children allege that their babies died from infection contracted in the facility.
On Tuesday, 21st February 2017, 4 parents whose preterm babies had been admitted at the neonatal intensive care unit NICU of the 37 military hospital told us they returned home with tears. They believe their children died from infections at the NICU unit. What even makes the affected parents more suspicious is the ongoing fumigation exercise being carried out by the hospital just after their children died. But Major Adams Garibapabi, Public Relations Officer of the 37 Military Hospital, says the fumigation is a routine exercise and has nothing to do with the deaths of the children.
As part of our routine exercise, we've been going from department to department to do fumigation exercises. This is because we are in a health facility and it's not good that we have insects, rodents and others in our facilities. So it is now the time for the neonatal intensive care unit for us to do fumigation. So we move from department to department. It's not that there are sudden deaths, that is why we are closing down the place.
While the parents say some of the babies had been transferred to other hospitals, Major Pabi says the babies were transferred to a different unit within the hospital.
And what we do is, if the cases are many, we wait for some time. When the cases subside, then those who are doing well, we discharge them. And those that we think they are so fragile, we need to keep them for some time. We move them to Nkrumah ward, then we do the fumigation, and then we bring them back.
These explanations do not sit well with some of the parents who lost their kids. Metro News will be following up on this developing story. From the 37 Military Hospital here in Accra, this is Gabriel Obodai Toboashon reporting for Metro News.
We're going for a breather. Don't go away. Time now for some business news. And in affairs, business story, managers of both service and industrial economy have called for the strengthening of diversified knowledge for chief executive officers in the country. They say bridging the gap of CEOs on new innovations in industry will help boost economic growth.
Chief executive officers have been straddled with the pressures intrinsic to their jobs and have found it a challenge to keep up with the knowledge gap that emerges as a direct result of these changes. They do not receive any outside support on their leadership skills, and yet almost all will be receptive to suggestions from a coach. There is the urgent need, therefore, according to major stakeholders, for platforms that will boost the learning drives of CEOs. The Ghana CEO Summit and Awards is a platform to integrate and interact in the fostering of knowledge acquisition, learning and partnerships.
The second edition of the Ghana CEO Summit will enable global and local CEOs to integrate and interact with world-class matter subjects to foster knowledge acquisition, learnings, partnerships, and synergies that can drive increased personal and organizational growth.
The summit and award ceremony will be in partnership with Deloitte and Touche. It will go through a rigorous process of auditing and selection on key performers who have made significant impact on the economy. Some CEOs who were present at the launch believed the impact of the knowledge sharing and networking will be enormous.
There are times you can even be a professor, but you'll be very archaic. When people are talking about simple things, because you are not part of it, you'll be found wanting. But this forum actually, with the creativity, innovation, and the topics that we've listed about leadership, entrepreneurship, I believe that those who actually have not been to the formal school for a long time, after going through, they'll be very, very fine.
That this is a good thing. It puts the top CEOs in this country into contact. It makes a bridge between entrepreneurs. It provides a public-private dialogue between the government and the private sector. It transfers real data about the economy and how government policy is impacting the economy. And the top CEOs, because they employ a lot of people, can take these policies down so that it impacts the lives of the very normal people and their families.
The summit is supposed to gather over 500 CEOs from across the country to Accra on the 22nd and 23rd of May 2017. Kwasi Afiri reporting for Metro News, Accra.
This is where we draw the curtains on Newsnight. It came to you live from our studios here at Metro Television. My name is Josephine Oppong-Yeboah. I'll see you again at 10 p.m. for the late edition of the news.